Hi, I'm Bob Vila. Welcome home again. We're on the backside of our little Studio City Craftsman bungalow, and today we're going to be showing you a different type of decking material. It's actually tongued and grooved hemper that's been kiln-dried and pre-finished. Also inside the house, we've got kitchen cabinets that have been made specially to resemble the cabinets of old, those that were here back in the 1920s. And in our bathroom, we're installing hexagonal tile, a combination of black and green. Quite lovely. Stick around. It's good to have you home again.
Sears presents Bob Vila's Home Again.
Okay, let's get started in the bathroom. The master bathroom is the only bathroom. And let's say hi to Courtney. How you doing?
Hi, Bob.
Cutting up tiles, I see.
Yes, I got my boys Antonio and Carlos here laying down this running bond pattern of border tile.
Okay.
Very tedious job.
It is a tedious job. Let's talk about the pattern that the architect homeowner has chosen here, because there's a black tile for the entire field of the bathroom, right?
Right, and that's a hexagon.
Right.
And it's a
This is stuff you can get almost anywhere.
mosaic style.
Right. And then the borders, what's custom. So right now they're working on this green tile.
Right.
And the green tile creates kind of a running bond, right?
And that was an inspiration
From here.
from this scored plaster, which was original when the house was built.
Yeah, this was meant to look like old-time ceramic tiles, which very often were put in a running bond like this,
Right.
and made in these dimensions. But this is less expensive even back then.
That's right.
Of course, now what we're doing here is time-consuming, so it is somewhat expensive. What happens here with the white and black?
We've got two white tiles, and then we've got a black one black tile, and then we've got another white, and then the rest of the field will be black. And
Now this could have been ordered from certain companies, computer-generated, ready to lay, but we're having to cut it out and do it all by hand because he just didn't have enough lead time, right?
that was one, and two is that the size of this room was inconsistent and square, and we
Yeah.
didn't want to have any offsets.
Right.
That would be a surprise.
Well, watch this. This looks pretty. And of course, the running bond means that the joints never break on each other.
Correct.
They're always staggered like that. Now let's talk about the mechanics down here. This subfloor was already here, right?
Yes, there was a tile on top of this, but it was in very poor condition and it was taken up.
Right.
This is a white Portland cement base, which was original to the house.
Now you can put ceramic tile right over this old cement base.
Well, actually, what we do first is we've got to seal this with an acrylic primer.
Okay.
And, it's a translucent. Takes about 20 minutes, 30 minutes to dry, depending on the condition of the area.
And that's important for the bond between the mastic and the existing subfloor.
Yes.
All right. So that's already been put on and it's already dried. All right, so it's an acrylic mastic, right? It's not a thin set mortar.
No, it is acrylic mastic.
And don't you need to well, yes, you'll be putting ridges on it with the notch
Yeah,
trowel.
he's got an 1/8 inch notch trowel.
Now this part over here is you know, intricate and tough to do. The way this thing has been designed, you've got this waving black line through here, and then it's a straight line down in that direction. And the only way to get this whole work done is to also, you know, invest in the half tiles.
And these pieces fill actually will just fill the void.
Mm-hmm.
Like so. And each one has to be put in by hand.
Individually.
Piece by piece.
Yeah. All right, we've allowed 24 hours to elapse between the time of installing all the tile on the floor with the mastic and the next step, which is, of course, tile grouting. And prior to even thinking about grouting, you also should vacuum the entire area to make sure that you don't have any particles or foreign matter in between the little tiles. Now, Carlos, what's the ratio that you mix the grout with?
Well, this is 2 to 1, 2 parts of grout and 1 part of water.
Okay. And you're mixing small batches at a time, right? You don't want to make too much.
Yeah, I don't want to make too much because it'll dry and it won't get, it won't be stronger.
Right.
The ground.
Right. And if it does start to dry, it's a mistake to add more water to it to try to soften it, because that really weakens it. So that's the main reason why you always want to just make small batches of the grout and cover small areas.
Yeah, that's correct.
And the consistency is the key thing. Even though we're saying 2 to 1 is a good general rule, but once you've mixed it to the correct consistency, you should wait about 10 minutes before you start applying it.
Yeah, that's right. We gotta wait for 10 minutes.
Yeah, this is the key thing, that you're doing small areas at a time.
Yeah, correct.
And you're putting down one big dollop, but you're not trying to do a whole 2 or 3 foot square area, just maybe a 1 or 2 square foot area. The thickness of this tile is less than a 1/4 inch, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a quarter.
Is it a 1/4? Okay, so now once you've done an area about, roughly 3 by 3, it's a good time to wait a couple of minutes and then start the sponge application. This is important because when you're doing the sponging to remove the excess grout, you want to make sure that the sponge is damp, but that it's not carrying any water, right?
Correct. So it won't get the grout wet again.
Exactly, because if you add more water into the grout, what you're doing is you're weakening it. Do you like working with a black grout, Carlos?
Well, it looks nice.
Yeah.
It's just.
I would think it's a little bit harder than with the white.
Yeah. Yeah, black is the hardest.
Exactly. You've got to
color.
keep changing the bucket of water every few minutes. There's a lot more coming up, so stick around. We'll be right back. Okay, let's spend a little time in the back porch. And you know, we've got all of this wonderful construction very far along, but we've saved the decking for last. And the architect's design calls for the use of these full 2 by 12 redwood pieces as a band along the perimeter of the porch. And I believe they're going to be painted out, but before they get painted, it's just so nice to look at this redwood they get out here. The rest of the field of the decking is being made out of 1.5 by 3 inch milled hemfir. And you know, that's a lumber that we use often for framing back east. And here it's been dipped and pre-finished. And what I like about it is it's a good stable material. It's not going to twist and cup on you. And Courtney, how is it to put in? You're using box nails, right? These look like...
Yeah, they're 10D hot dip galvanized box nails.
There you go, yeah. So that's a great type of nail to use for decking, because as opposed to electroplated galvanized, the dipped galvanized ends up with enough texture along the shank of the nail that it grips the wood really, really well. But why aren't you nailing it, power nailing it?
Actually, we like to hand nail it. We can fit each piece, and we can control the actual depth with our, with our own nail set.
Right.
Plus, when we drive it, we're sure to get a nice tight joint.
Okay, here you go. We've pre-cut these around this jog, this original closet wall that we have interrupting the backyard deck, but in a minute we'll get into the longer pieces.
It's a tight fit here.
Okay, this next piece has been pre-cut because it does make a better fit. When you've got a situation where there's a corner of the house there and you'd have to break and have two pieces, you're better off making the cut, taking the measurements and making the notch, if you will, so that the piece will fit and you'll have one uniform nailed piece across the whole depth of the porch there. Does it look right?
Yep, it's right on.
Okay, just move it a hair and we'll get a tight fit at this end.
How's that look?
That looks good. Okay, now we're getting close to the end here, and part of the carpenter's arithmetic is to make things look uniform. What we've done to the last 5 pieces is to rip off some of the, about 1/8 of an inch off of the grooved part, so that in effect we end up with 5 pieces that look more or less the same size as the rest of the deck. If we hadn't done that, when we'd get to the butt with the redwood, we would have had half of one of these, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Okay, and now for the redwood trim, we'll use finish nails, again hot dip galvanized, so that they grip nice. And that's going to look great. We have a lot more construction projects coming up, so don't go away. Let's say hi to Brian Como, who's our cabinet maker here, and the kitchen cabinets have arrived. Hi, Brian.
How you doing, Bob?
Good. Now, this again is all made out of straight grain fir.
All vertical grain fir.
Vertical grain fir, and is any element of this old or?
Not on the base cabinet. We had to replace the base cabinet because the original one was back from the 50s, not the 20s.
Not the 20s. But this, even the inside shelves, is made out of fir. That's real nice.
Yeah, this is all solid.
So how does she set?
It sets really nice and level.
Good. Any scribing to do?
Yeah, we've scribed in the back. There's a belly in the wall right here, so we've scribed in the shelf here. We're going to go ahead and cut that so it'll fit flush against the wall.
And now tell us how you did that, because that basically just involves...
We just use a protractor,
Yeah.
and you set it at your highest point on the gap.
Right.
And then as you scribe in, you start at your highest point of the belly and all the way across. That gives you your line
That
to match the wall.
Exactly. So that's the wood you got to remove now. Mm-hmm. Can we help you move it out of the way?
Sure.
Now, in some cases, you could use a handsaw, but in this situation, you really want to...
or a sander.
Yeah. Okay, so are we ready to move it into place?
Yeah, it should be ready.
Well, we're lucky the floor is nice and level, because otherwise you'd have to be shimming and putting in shim shingles and the like.
Are we good down there?
Good.
Okay.
All right, Bob, we're going to use 3-inch drywall screws now to fasten this cabinet to the wall.
Okay, and you've already marked off
And
where your studs are.
We've marked our studs down the wall.
Now, the overhead cabinet started out in life in a house in the 1920s, I believe, this section of it here. And Brian, this is all new work, right? You've added
Yeah.
up
Correct.
from over to the left. They did a good job of stripping all the yellow paint that was on it.
Yeah, they did.
And now, is it going to go in one move, or do you have to also scribe this?
Yeah, the ceiling's level, the walls are fairly flat, so we're going to go ahead and just throw it straight up.
Okay.
How about we'll lift it up and then we'll bring over the step ladder.
Okay. Ready? Nice fit. There you go. And of course, you mark the studs in the wall so that you know you're going right into wood. And there's a gap at the ceiling, but that'll be covered by the crown molding that goes around the perimeter of the room, right?
Yeah, so it matches the existing crown that's in here now.
Now the secret, of course, is these long screws, because you want to get the good 2 inches into the stud throughout an installation like this. This is the kind of thing that gets loaded up with china and grocery cans and the like. Is that the molding that's going up there?
Yes.
Yeah.
We had pre-cut one end of it, but this is how it'll finish up. Like that. The grains match really nicely.
All right, now this piece that goes along the side has been cut to fit exactly, not just in the outside miter, but it's been coved to fit up against the old molding in the back. And we're going to be shooting them in place.
Yeah, we're going to start at the miter here since that's our most important area right there.
And then just go on down the line every 12 inches or so.
Yeah, every so often.
Okay, so these are the old doors that were painted yellow that the homeowner stripped down, right, Courtney?
Yes, and we're putting back the same hardware, the same hinges, the same screws.
So it's a piece of cake. They did a nice job getting all the paint out of there.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah. And then what about the rest? Oh, here we go. The rest of them have to be kind of replicas or a mixture, right, Brian?
Yeah, we took the old doors and duplicated them as close as we could.
These are the little ones that would have gone up on, that are original to the top, and then you've made exact copies of them for the top of the new cabinet up there.
Correct.
Nice work.
Thank you.
A lot of hinges to put together now. We'll be back in a moment with a preview of our next show. Okay, we've now completed putting in all of the black grout in the black field. We still have to go through with white grout in the green border around the whole perimeter. All in all, it's a pretty tedious installation. It's taken 2 men 2 days in real time to get this far, and we'll have to wait 1 more day before we can set the toilet back in and bring in the pedestal sink. Running out of time. Come home again next time. We're going to be insulating the attic, actually using an Australian technique, also putting in some light boxes in the living room ceiling that receive some beautiful stained glass panels, and we're going to take you to the stained glass studio to watch how they're made. That's it. Till next time, I'm Bob Vila. It's good to have you home again. Check out these great new resources for more information on your project. Or for more information on today's show, visit my website at bobvila.com.